fuck's sake, guys, I'm sorry. I'll get it right on the next one. It did take a few takes to really get the timing right. Smells Like Teen Spirit was the most important track on Nevermind. It was the lead single from the album. It was the one that, you know, really took off. It was the first track on the album itself. And I fought for it early on to be the first. I'm sorry, is that my name floating there? It's a bit distracting, you know, in my peripheral vision. Thank you. I've actually got all the original multi-tracks here with me, so we can strip each song down to its constituent elements. For example, let's just isolate Kurt's vocal here. And you can hear he's pushing himself so hard, his voice is getting pretty shot. It's pretty powerful sounding. Particularly on the Adenials. In Bloom is the second track on the album. It's actually one of the first songs that we cut, and it's written about... I don't remember. Probably nothing important. So after we recorded Kurt's vocal, we had Dave come in and do harmonies on the chorus. That was one of the first things we added to the track. They both sound pretty cool together. Very similar tonal quality. Kurt hated doing double tracks. He never wanted to do them, and so to convince him, I'd always have to say, well, John Lennon did it. You know, if it's good enough for John Lennon, it's good enough for Kurt Cobain. And he really took that advice to heart, I think. That's why he spent a solid week in bed with Courtney that one time. I don't know what cause that was for, but they seemed really committed to it. They got so sleepy, Dave and Chris had to give them adrenaline shots. So I thought, well, if we double Kurt, we might as well double Dave too. It's a very rich, full chorus. What I really like about Come As You Are is that it's got this great watery tone to it. At the time, Kurt was actually dating the supermodel Giselle, and the chorus of this song is dedicated to her. You'll hear in a moment. We decided not to include that in the lyrics booklets. She was 11 in 1991, so... Lithium. Not bad for an Evanescence cover. Lithium was one of the hardest songs to record on Nevermind. I actually had to get Dave to play to a click track on this, which, you know, when you're a drummer, that's a real blow to your ego. He didn't like that at all, but it's fine on every other song. You know, he's an excellent drummer, but it's just, on this one, the timing just wasn't quite right. It gets speeding up slightly. It was quite subtle. See if you can hear it. I know it's a small thing, you know, it's not that noticeable, but when you're a producer, you hear little things like that. You've got to be a real stickler for detail. Even the best drummers do that sometimes. Kurt did a great vocal on this one, I think. There's a mournfulness in there. It really comes across. Polly is a very dark song lyrically. It's about this story that, it's a true story, that Kurt read in a paper about the kidnap and rape and torture of a parrot who escaped her captor, and what she did was she gained the rapist's trust by pretending, you know, she was getting into it, that she didn't mind being raped so much, like a sort of Stockholm syndrome thing, like, you're starting to grow on me! So he let his guard down, and he pulled into a gas station one day in his car, and he left a window down, and she flew out, and got the attention of passers-by by making a whole scene like, save me, save me! I mean, not that, because parrots only repeat phrases they've heard, don't they? So it would be more like, I'm going to burn you! Which would probably still be, you know, incriminating evidence. The police could still use that. I'm a filthy rapist! That's probably still admissible in court. I should say, I don't know, you know, that story is exactly true. I mean, I don't think a parrot would survive being blowtorched. They're very flammable. Bit of artistic license on Kurt's part, I suppose. And there's actually a mistake in this one. Listen out for it. There's a bit coming up where Kurt comes in too early. That there, and we decided to leave it in, but it did take a bit of cleaning up. Here's the original unedited track. We thought it best not to leave that in. Now for the intro of this song, I actually got Chris Novoselic to sing the chorus of Get Together.
Can we get together? I really wanna be with you. Come on, shall we? I hope you feel the same.
We had to pay the Youngbloods for that. Young blood being the only currency that Madonna accepts. Kurt was actually an avowed feminist, and this is a song against macho behaviour, not just piss in general. The message is that whenever he got too excited and pissed somewhere he shouldn't, that's not a territorial motive. You know, he doesn't own the studio. He's saying, Butch Vig, when I pissed on your mixing desk that one time, that wasn't me claiming ownership. You can still have that. And I appreciate that. Drain You has the most guitar overdubs on Nevermind. 2 tracks of the Mesa Boogie, 2 tracks of the Fender Bassman, and 1 track of what we called a grunge who stole Christmas. I kept lying to Kurt to get him to record new guitar tracks, so I'd say something like, oh Kurt, the track didn't record properly, you'll have to do it again, or oh Kurt, you're out of tune that time, you'll have to do it again, or oh Kurt, if you record this guitar track again, I'll buy you an ice cream. And I never did. Here's the Mesa tracks. Here's the Basement tracks. And here's the grunge track. Pretty grungy. Now this is where Kurt did overdubs of toys he brought into the studio. That is actually a rubber squeaky mouse toy. That's a slide whistle. That's Bop It. And that's that Duck Army video. And this is where he just did fart noises. Pretty funky. We had to cut most of this. He's a real joker, Kurt. He did have quite a puerile sense of humour. This one's called Lounge Cat. It's about a lazy cat. Stay Away is another song where Kurt had trouble with the timing.
Monkey see, monkey do. I don't know why. Rather be dead than cruel. I don't know why. Oh no. I'm lost now.
So we got him to overdub the line I don't know why and put it on a separate track, so between each line and the verses you'd hear. So it's super tight, no timing issues at all, it's just like pressing a button that goes. In fact, we literally had it assigned to a button, which Kurt loved, because it meant whenever he got asked any tricky questions he could just come over and press. Kurt, why'd you piss all over my mixing desk? Kurt, why did you run down to reception and repeatedly burp through the intercom when the label bosses were here? Kurt, why do you think it's funny to mess with my settings and pitch up all the vocals when my back is turned? This was recorded in 2006 as the theme tune to Snakes on a Plane. Something in the Way was the hardest track of all to record on Nevermind. After 3 or 4 takes trying to cut it in the main room, it just wasn't happening. Kurt couldn't quite get into the spirit of the song.
Something in the way. Something in the way. Yeah!
So Kurt, he was frustrated. He came in the control room, left Dave and Chris in the main room, and he sat on the couch next to me and said, "It needs to sound more like this." And he laid back and started playing his guitar, and he was just barely singing. It was almost a whisper. So I said, "Okay, stop," and went around the room unplugging everything that makes noise: the phone, the fan, the tape machine, the fridge freezer, which, by the way, we only realised when we came back the next day we forgot to plug back in afterwards, so all of our turbot fillets had defrosted. Ironically, it was not okay to eat fish. So I said, "This is it. Do what you need to do." And I literally held my breath for 14 minutes. He was so quiet. 10 of those minutes were actually just total silence. This was the take we got.
In the main room for fucking yonks while you're in here digging about on a sofa, fucking bone idol. Now leave him, Chris Novoselic. I've had enough of your shit too, Dave.
We got it on the next take, after we escorted Chris Novoselic from the premises. He was always the most troubled member of Nirvana, I think. Well, that was that, Nirvana fans. I hope you enjoyed this insight into... What's that? What's that noise? Oh my god, what's happening? I didn't press anything. It just started playing. Oh my god, it must be possessed. Oh my god.